Whenever I'm trying to come up with new or interesting puzzle modifications, one of my go-to methods for creating a new design is by melding a couple of designs that I've already built together. I had a plan, and I use the term plan very loosely, on fusing my faceted tetrahedron modification with my triangular 3x3 antiprism. Now I know that's a lot of syllables without explaining a whole lot, but all I wanted to do is to cut two faces of a faceted tetrahedron on either side of a 3x3. After I'd finished making all of the cuts, I did my usual stuffing all of the pieces full of epoxy sculpt, and then after everything had hardened, I took it back over to my belt sander to sand all of the pieces down. This was all a pretty standard building method, and it's something I've already gone over before on my actual faceted tetrahedron build. After I had finished sanding one side, I decided to show you the difference between a side that hadn't been sanded yet and the side that I had just finished sanding. And you can kind of see the shape now that I'm going for. It's very similar to the Antiprism, but it has some of those faceted cuts, and I can actually see a lot of different ways that I can take this design. It's funny, whenever I build these puzzles, I always end up finding inspiration for 3 or 4 more new projects, and it's kind of a thing that compounds on itself. I need to get out more. So I'm just finishing off all of the puzzle pieces now. I'm kind of running low on time because the sun's going down, and I gotta get all these pieces finished and stick it up if I'm gonna get any of that nice crispy B-roll before it does. What I like to do to finish off all my puzzle pieces, if you're a regular on the channel you already know this by now, but I like to use a nail file to knock off all of the sharp edges of each of the pieces, and then I use a sandy block to kind of smooth everything over. It's got some foam on the inside, it's a little squishy, it likes to contour around the faces, and after I've done all of that, I rub everything down with some Scotch-Brite or a scouring pad. Those are so easy to find, you can pick them up at 7-Eleven. And that's just the way that I go about finishing off puzzle pieces. But that being said, that's not what you have to do. I have changed my puzzle finishing method time and time again. I used to paint puzzle pieces, I don't do that anymore. Every now and then I rub them down on my jeans like I'm doing right now. Don't ask me why, but it ends up smoothing over the piece really nice. And I find that that's like a 4th step after Scotch-Brite. And I find that that gives me the best possible result. But at the same time, I'm limited for time in this series, so there's only so much time that I can actually spend making everything look good. So I find that the nail file, the sanding block, and then some Scotch-Brite and just going over the pieces very quickly is all that you need. I'm going back and forth on this one just because I'm talking to the camera right now, but really, in fact, I'll give you a real-world example, not with this piece because that's a little hard to sand, with this piece here. Let's start. So I'm going to knock off all of the sharp edges. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks good. Got a sanding block. I'm just going to go over everything here. I'm going around the outside just to kind of round everything over on the edges. And then I'm kind of coming in towards the center and then sanding that face down. And then what I would do is I would take that over to the Scotch-Brite, just rub that down, it would take about 10 seconds, and then the piece is done. Putting them all in a pile over there so I can do the Scotch-Brite later. After I'd finished sanding everything, I'd cut all the stickers out, and here it is, the puzzle is finally done. I decided to go for a bit of a unique color scheme. I wasn't really sure what I was doing here, but I thought that these colors looked nice. It's a bunch of cool colors around the inside of the puzzle, and on the top and bottom I've put some warmer colors. I scrambled this puzzle up, and as you can see, everything shapeshifts because I've cut so much off the puzzle. I actually don't really like the color scheme when it's scrambled. I think I should have gone for a slightly different scheme. I was just experimenting with how this puzzle would look, and I think it's important to do experiments whether they succeed or fail, and aesthetically, I'm not too happy with this color scheme. But regardless, I think that this puzzle turned out really well. It was just a bit of a spur-of-the-moment mod. I just wanted to kind of meld two designs together and see how it looked. But seeing the shape of this puzzle as it is actually gives me a really good idea for another puzzle that I want to build, and you'll see that in the coming days. But anyways, I hope you guys like this puzzle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.